Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the one, the only NYY News TV. I am here with my guy, Dane. Dane, today we are discussing all things Yankee prospects up until this point. It is the All-Star break. We already did all of our grades on the actual big league club, but now it's time to talk about the young guys, the guys that are kind of with the Yankees stuck in the minors. Is that a is that a good way to put it?
Yeah,
Forever stuck in the
that is
minors.
a good way.
Let's talk
On
about
the hitting
those
side,
guys.
at least.
Yeah, on the hitting side, definitely. But I think the format today, guys, like we're trying to show video, we're trying to show a lot of different things. So my hands are gonna be a little tied going back and forth doing what I gotta do. But all super chats, 100% will be answered. We will still try to answer regular chats because I'm sure you guys are going to have questions about prospects, and that is all we're covering today. I think there's going to be a lot of new names that you guys are going to learn about that are really, really good. We're going to start first with the best, and that is the Yankees pitching, which is really good organizationally.
It is. It's phenomenal from top to bottom. What they have done in that system has been unbelievable. The way they've drafted, developed, used the pitching laboratory down there, they call the gas station, to their advantage. The first guy we're going to talk about is Drew Thorpe.
But before of course, we're going to get into Thorpe first, but I actually just wanted to talk about the overall pitching philosophy of the Yankees, because as of right now, when you look at the system and you look at the stats and the numbers, right? There looks like there is a major difference in how well the pitching's performing compared to how the hitters are performing.
Yeah, absolutely. The pitching is performing from the DSL level all the way up through AAA, where the hitters who started in high A, AA, and AAA have basically paused.
Yep.
It has not been a good year for the hitters at all.
No, not at all. So let's go ahead and jump into the first name. That name is Drew Thorpe. And guys, he's probably a name, I'm going to guess, that a lot of you in the chat have already heard of. You probably already heard of Drew Thorpe's name, but what he's doing this year makes him a must know for any Yankee fan.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gone, I believe, 6 starts and only given up 1 run in his last 42 and a third innings, or 41 and a third innings. Short arm action reminds me a lot of Shane Bieber in that regard, but he has a slider changeup combination that has a very unique profile. They both move more like a curveball with that downward movement instead of side movement.
Right.
And that's the tunneling effect of those. And everybody just swings over the top of that changeup. No one hits that changeup. It is literally one of the best in minor league baseball right now.
I was going to ask you that. Is it the best pitch in the Yankees minor league system right now?
No.
Okay,
but
so
it's
we're gonna get to somebody. Oh, okay, it's the second. So there you go, guys. We're giving away a little spoilers here. There might be somebody with a better pitch, but that is the second best pitch. Would you say, okay, but it is the best changeup in the Yankees minor league system?
I would have to see Luis Cernas again because he had a phenomenal one. But of the guys who are healthy and pitching all year, it's not even close. Randy Vasquez, no, it was Johnny Brito that had the best changeup last year, and Thorpe's is unbelievably better than his.
Do you have, let me actually pull up as we talk and as we get this going, I'm going to pull up Drew Thorpe's line so I could just read those off also as we go. And by the way, he also has a phenomenal mustache that actually fits him well. So just in case anybody worries about that, he has a good mustache. But
he does.
Looking at his 2023 start stats right now, he's 8-1 of the season with a 2.13 ERA. I'll repeat that again, guys. 2.13 ERA. Is at high A Hudson Valley, who has had the best pitching staff in the minors for all year, even now. And there's a name after this that I want to jump to right after this, even though I know we have There's a lot of great names that were in were in A ball. Now Hampton is in Double A, but I do want to talk
Hampton
about
is
another
double.
guy who just recently went to High A. But 14 games, 84 and one-third innings, 101 strikeouts. You are looking at, no question about it, an elite starting pitching prospect. He was drafted in 2022 in round number 2, second overall. He
Yeah,
is a must watch for Yankee
he
fans.
is.
You think this is a guy the Yankees are probably more, I think he might be hands off when it comes to a trade. Unless
Unless
it's a
it's
huge name.
for unless it's for a superstar, they're not trading Drew Thorpe for
Yep.
a rental. He's not going to be like the Medinas and the Wesniskis and the Waldichucks last year. They're going to keep him unless it's for an absolutely huge name.
No doubt. And
He,
go ahead.
okay. He's just a phenomenal pitching prospect. He doesn't throw as hard as some of the other guys, but his command and control keep him allow him to keep hitters off balance. It's just a
Yep.
phenomenal complete package, and he's very, very advanced. He could move very, very quickly because he's not reshaping his pitches. He's not trying to develop anything. He's just in the refinement mode, and he needs to be in Double A. There's just no question
Yeah,
about that.
I can't imagine he won't be in Double A pretty soon. He's got to
Yeah,
be up soon.
he absolutely has to.
So moving on to, I don't want to immediately jump into the other big names that are there. I do want to talk about a name that I think me and you both agree on is somewhat of a sleeper because he's finally pitching, and that is
Right.
Brandon Beck. We've heard a shit
I'm
ton about Brandon Beck for a long time. Me and you are very, very high in this guy. We talked about this in the offseason that we can't wait
Yes,
till
we
he
did.
pitches. And funniest thing, a funny story behind it is, you remember me and you were like, what the hell happened to this guy? You were like, I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't heard an update. Then it's like, oh, he's starting today. And it just
yeah,
came out of nowhere. There was like no warning. It was like, oh, he's starting.
yeah. I got a text from Carlos saying, or Yankees Farm, excuse me, saying Brandon Beck sighting. He's starting today in the FCL. I'm like, what in
Yeah,
the
like
world?
out of
I had
nowhere. And if anybody remembers, he was drafted in 2021. He was the second pick for the Yankees. And there was just
I
rumors,
was
Stanford, right?
Stanford.
And there was rumors that this guy was like Mike Mussina, like where his command was phenomenal. He's just gonna run through the system and run right up pretty quick.
Right.
He gets surgery, and now he's at Hudson Valley. Also, hasn't given up a run in only 10 and 2/3 innings, 14 strikeouts, but he is very, very advanced for
He
many
is.
levels in the minor leagues.
He is. He's reminds me a lot of Drew Thorpe in the fact that they're really close to being finished products.
Yeah.
Obviously, Beck is still coming back from Tommy John's a little bit. They haven't stretched him out more than 3 innings yet, but he's looked absolutely phenomenal.
Do you have any reads on what his velocity has been?
93, 95.
So that's just about where it was, correct?
Yes, I was told before the surgery, they took him to the gas station, did a weighted balls program, and he was up to 97, 98. But so far, that hasn't come back, and that's probably just a lack of arm strength from not
Right.
throwing for 18 months or whatever it was that he was out. But I expect him to be fully healthy, and they'll turn him loose in the second half.
What
And that's
is
another phenomenal pitcher.
the one thing that I remember hearing about him? He has a big overhand curveball. Isn't that like his major
Huge
out
12
pitch?
6. Yes.
So he has
12
that,
6
the
curveball.
fastball. Those are that's the thing he's kind of known for, is that 12-6
The,
curveball
the
and great
changeup and
command.
slider are good too.
Yeah.
You can't knock those two pitches of his either.
And you mainly heard a lot about him that he is somewhat of a, not, I don't want to say a finished product, but he's a guy that should be able to move through the system pretty quick.
Absolutely. He pitched 3 years at Stanford. He was their Friday night, Saturday night starter, which that's their number one pitcher for 2 years. And he was a Pac-12 pitcher of the year that he got drafted. And he's got College World Series experience. We talked about a story about him when he was on the mound in the final game that they played. They're down in Texas. It's 110 degrees, and he requests he requests the black jerseys because he's taking them to their funerals. So he's out pitching at 110. Yeah, absolutely. You got to get that on the Yankees as soon as you can. I want that mindset with me on the Major League club.
No doubt about it. We need that mindset. Probably almost more. I feel like more than any team in baseball. We need some dogs on this team.
We do.
That's why Rodon was so phenomenal to get him back. But continuing on, and we are gonna bump up here to a Double-A pitcher who was in Hudson Valley for a long time. I know Yankees Farm is extremely high on Chase Hampton. You are too. I read an article recently that said the people believe he is the best Yankee pitching prospect, and that's why I'll be honest with you. I kind of laugh when I see MLB's projections on top 30 prospect lists because I think it sucks ass, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, it's horrible. Chase,
I think they got him ranked 26th.
Yeah,
I think crazy.
That was the first ranking. They bumped him up to number 6 or 7 recently, I think.
Let me see. I just want to look that up because I know I looked at it the other day and I'm like, how is Chase Hampton ranked that damn low? That sounds absolutely insane.
It is. And Carlos sent me another list yesterday. They had him 74th in the system.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy.
I wouldn't trust a whole lot of ranking projections at all.
Speaking of ranking projections, you guys have your own coming very soon, which is going to be a top 40.
We do. We have put in a lot of work on it. Ruben from NYY News has helped. Rick has helped. Staff writer Jin Wook has contributed. And of course, Carlos has been there with me doing it the whole time. I had a phenomenal team of guys that helped out. But
and then, Yankees Farm is in a chat. He says Baseball America had him ranked 6th.
Okay, that's what it was. Los, what's up, buddy?
Did they also is he ahead of every pitching prospect we have, or is Thorpe ahead of him?
They had Warren ahead of him, I believe.
How do you feel about that?
I was okay with it at the beginning of the year, but seeing what Hampton has done, he's the number 1 pitching prospect, and it's not close. I had a scout from the Rays that I talked to that told me that they have been watching him and he's the best pitcher that they have seen all year, stuff wise. And that includes their own system.
So I'll go ahead and give his numbers too real quick. And of course, we got all of Yankees Farm's videos today. This is Chase Hampton. You're looking on the screen. But so far this year, he is 2-1 with a 3.12 ERA in 13 games started, 69 innings pitched. Get this, folks. You ready for this? 103 punch outs to 22 walks. This guy has legitimate put you away stuff. And on top of that, based on some interviews I've seen, he's a guy that has the killer instinct. He ain't playing when he gets on that mound.
Absolutely. No, he got criticized a little bit earlier in the year because in his Double-A debut, because he was visibly upset on the mound when I believe it was his second baseman didn't make a play and kind of showed him up.
Well, the other thing I was going to add was he shows off antics on the mound when he strikes you out. He'll give a big fist pump. He'll do a twirl on the mound. He does kind of show up the opposing team. But hey, again, I'll repeat myself 150 times. Give me 5 of those guys in my staff. That's what I want on my team.
Yeah,
and he doesn't shy away from it.
No, and I think his cutter might be the best pitch in the system. He pitches off that.
Is that what you're saying is the best pitch in the system?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The way that he has dominated with that pitch, it's been phenomenal. He's striking out close to 40% of the guys he faced in high A, and he's gotten better in Double-A.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. He's gotten better with every single start in Double-A.
Yeah, and this is a 6th-round pick that didn't pitch much in college. This is a complete find for the Yankees.
Yep.
And he is simply their best starting pitching prospect, and it's not really close in my book.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button for us. Let's make sure we get to 100 likes today. Dane, who are you thinking about next on the pitching side?
My next favorite is Juan Corella.
Juan Corella, also a Hudson Valley product.
He is. If you look at his game stats, he strikes out 8, 10 guys a game like it's clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
He has phenomenal command and control. If you look at the walk rates, they're down. The fastball, he throws 2 fastballs, a four seam and a sinker. They play way up in the zone. For the four seam, it's just a dominant pitch, and so is the two seam. He is a phenomenal prospect, but where I like him a little bit more than Thorpe even is that there's still development left. He still has ceiling to go, and he's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
already.
He's pitching to a 2.99 ERA in 72 innings, 93 Ks to 26 walks, which I think is very, very impressive.
It is. But if you go back in his game log, he had one game where he was just left out there to take the fall on the sword.
Right.
If you take that game out, his ERA goes down to the low twos right there with Thorpe. And he is somebody that I want to keep. I think he has a chance to be a top of the rotation starter, at least a number 3 or better.
Yeah.
I don't predict aces because I think that's the hardest thing to predict. But this kid has true top of the rotation ceiling.
Who else is down there in Hudson Valley still?
You have
Messenger's
Valdez.
there, right?
Yeah, Zach Messenger's there. He's another very good one. We did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and he is one of the smartest pitchers I have ever talked to. For him, it's not about velocity. It's not about the shape of the pitches. It's how he can use those pitches to get hitters out. He's going to think himself to the major leagues.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a big kid too, 6'6", 225.
And
drafted in 2021.
And he was a reliever in college, and they have made him a starter. And that's one thing that he said when we were talking about him. He's comfortable in either role. So there's ability to do that with him. But he gets overshadowed because he's had Beck, Corella, Hampton, Thorpe, all in that rotation around him.
Right.
And another guy at that level, Tyrone Bewley, he just had a 10 strikeout game last week, and he doesn't even get mentioned.
Yeah.
But he's another phenomenal pitching prospect that we have coming, but he just has to lower the walks a little bit, get some control.
Would you say that Hudson Valley this year has had the best pitching at any minor league team overall?
Yeah.
Like the best pitching staff, the regular guy starting. It's almost like if you're a prospect guy, you want to watch their team daily to see who's on the mound.
Absolutely. And it's not just the starters there either. It's the relievers too. They have had some relievers there. A guy that we have on our list, Danny Watson.
Tell us about him.
He is a Stephen Ridings clone, down to the red hair and everything. He's the same size, but he comes at you at 95 from a sidearm angle.
Holy shit, he does look like Stephen Ridings.
Yeah, he does. He looks exactly like Stephen Ridings, build, everything. And then you get to that arm angle and it's flat. And guys can't hit him. He has 3 pitches that he comes at you with, a fastball, changeup, and a slider. And he's going to get out with those pitches. I mean, look at the arm angle and the movement on the screen.
That is a bit wild. Are you worried about throwing? I mean, you barely see anybody throwing that hard from that arm angle. Or am I wrong? Like how many guys? I mean, you got like Jeff Nelson's and Nelly threw 96, 90, 95, 96, 97.
Yeah.
But there's not many guys coming from that angle that are firing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Well, he doesn't get up to 98, but he gets to 95.
And that's still good enough from that angle.
It is. It plays way up from that angle. And he's someone that they drafted and developed as a reliever.
Yeah.
And you're going to see him start moving quick. He was at Hudson Valley. You have Jack Neely down there, who didn't give a run up, I believe, in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Another big body reliever. Bailey Dees is another one that is there and has been at Hudson. And he's another big 6'7", 6'8" guy that they drafted and developed as a reliever. And they're coming quick and they're just studs. But the guy in the bullpen that has stood out to me the most is Luis Velasquez.
And he's at where?
He is at Hudson Valley. Yeah.
Hudson Valley, man. Can't miss.
No. And if you put him on the screen there, you're going to see a smaller guy throwing 100 miles an hour. And the 100, he holds that velocity 40, 50 pitches in a game. So he can go 2, 3, 4 innings if you need him to. He can close out a ball game. And you can see with those pitches that he's throwing, the movement is excellent on those as well.
Yeah, that's stupid. That pitch right there was stupid.
Yeah. And to tell you how good our pitching in our system is, this is our number 40 prospect.
Wow. Yeah, that is absolutely filthy stuff. I mean, look at it. Look at that right there. You see that break?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
And that's all you need, by the way, too. That is all you need as a relief pitcher is a fastball and a slider. You don't need much else.
That's it.
No, that's all he needs. He's throwing 100 plus, and he has a hell of a slider. That is literally all he needs to do the rest of the way and have fly through the system.
Exactly. And he could end up in a multi-inning role. He could end up as a closer. He's got the stuff to do it. What we have seen in Hudson Valley, I have never seen that good of a group of pitching prospects, both starters and relievers, in 15 years.
Wow. Well, I think the Yankees pitching, I was telling that when I had Mario and Kevin on, you heard me say that to them because they were talking about, Will Warren and Clayton Beater. I'm like, that is kind of just what the eyes could see at this moment if you're focused on the upper levels. But when you look at Hudson Valley, I'm like, the next 2 to 3 years, if the Yankees don't end up just emptying the farm and go, we're going to go for, we're dumping all these guys, which if we know the Yankees, that's very, very unlikely. The Yankees are going to have a crop of pitching. I sometimes hate going this far, but it might be the best crop of pitching they've ever had in the system. Is that crazy to say?
No, you don't have to be crazy to say that. It's not even close. It's a fact. It is the best pitching, and it's not just from AAA. It's not just in AA. It's not just in Hudson Valley. It's not just in Tampa.
Yeah, take us all the way to the start. Take us all the way to the start. I want to hear about a few of those names before we get to your Beaters and your Warren.
Sure. You got Henry Lillane, big kid, throws 100.
Yep.
Carlos LaGrange, another big kid, phenomenal starter. I got to look at my name real fast for another guy, but they have a couple other guys down there that are phenomenal starters. And you guys can see.
Here's Lillane right here. I'm going to pop him up on the screen.
Yeah, do that. You got to see what he does. Look.
Is that Randy Johnson?
It looks like it. Same size.
Is that the big unit right there?
It looks like it.
Hold on 1 second. It's not. There it goes. All right. Hold on. There we go. Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
You got a little big unit. And how tall is this kid?
6'8".
How hard does he throw?
Not quite as hard as
the unit.
No, not quite that hard. He's mid-90s.
That's gonna be. Let me tell you something about this kid. I mean, I could just watch him and see this. If this kid threw 90 miles an hour, it's gonna look like it's 93. If he throws 94, it's gonna look like it's 98. I mean,
Yeah,
look how quick. You can see how quick it gets to the batter. There's not a lot of reaction time with him. I
no,
know that
there's
kind of
not.
sounds crazy, but in baseball terms, you would understand because there is some guys that the pitch just gets on you faster, whether the velocity shows it or not. You can see he's gonna be one of those guys.
Absolutely. And as Carlos has tweeted, Chanel Arias in the DSL, Omar Gonzalez in the DSL, those are two other guys that have the ceiling that Lane, LaGrange have. There's
And
so
Yankees
much
farm, he
pitching.
says the same thing there. This is the best crop of pitchers that he's seen in the Yankees from DSL to Scranton Wilkes-Barre to ever. I mean, this is
It
the best
is.
pitching crop the Yankees have ever had.
It is. They drafted a couple more pitchers that have pretty good stuff. But once they go through that Yankees gas station, we have no idea what they're going to look like. They could turn out
Yeah.
to be another Chase Hampton. They know how to draft and develop pitching now.
Well, that's been
And
proven.
it's a continuous pipeline, and it's going to save money long term. It's phenomenal
It's a
what they
smart,
have
it's a
done.
smart way to go about it. But talking about at the upper levels, a guy
Okay?
that is starting to kind of catch on a little more, and I think a lot of people think may be traded, maybe is a pen piece, but he's been starting. That is Clayton Beater, who we got in the deal for Joey Gallo. So to be
Yes.
honest, I mean, we can beat up Brian Cashman all we want and go, man, you gave up this guy, that guy. Yes, he did. That was a bad deal at the end of the day on the Joey Gallo trade. I think everybody sits here and agrees to that. But
Yeah.
getting Clayton Beater back and seeing the way that he is developing, you almost got to say, eh,
Yeah, you really
because
do.
he really is looking like maybe even a better pitcher than a lot of us thought.
Yeah, he added a changeup this year, and it has redefined what he can be. Coming over from the Dodgers, he was never a starter. He was an opener, went 2, 3 innings, and he just wasn't able to get deep into games.
Right.
He's improved the command. He's added the changeup. He's developed into a very, very legitimate mid-rotation pitching prospect.
And he's a
And
call away. I mean, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. This kid is a call away.
yeah, he's in AAA.
Oh yeah, and by the way, too, I just wanna throw this out there that Craig Smith just said 100%. Clayton Beater over a guy like Glenn Otto all day. So you got a
1,000.
way better prospect back.
Absolutely. You did. You got, and this is a credit to the Yankees again. They had a lot of choices for pitchers that they could have taken from that Dodgers farm system, but they took Beater, and they have turned him into something that I didn't think he was going to become. I was not a big fan of his coming over.
Right.
And with all the other starters that we have, I'm not sure that he stays a starter with us, but he has great, great stuff. And then you go from him to Will Warren.
Yep. I was just going to bring him
AAA.
up. Yep. Will Warren.
I wrote an article for our site earlier this year about Warren.
Yep.
Where I thought he was almost a lock to be in our rotation next year. And the AA coach even said that Warren has the best stuff he's ever coached.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the thing about that is he might be the 4th or 5th best pitching prospect in our system now.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Because starting the year, all the talk was Warren. Right? Am I wrong about that? All the talk was predominantly, Will Warren. What is he gonna do this year? And damn, my goodness, have these other guys really come along? That Hudson Valley alone is like shit. Where did that come from?
They found him and developed him. I mean, and it's just phenomenal because these aren't high dollar IFA signings. These aren't first round draft picks. These are kids that they are finding in middle rounds.
It's a great point.
And doing phenomenal things with. I mean, everybody had a chance to take Chase Hampton 5 times before we did. and
Yeah.
they passed.
Yep.
Drew Thorpe,
Will Warren, I mean, eighth pick.
yeah, eighth round.
In 2021. I mean, in the eighth round, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
here's a guy who, as Dane is saying, and I want you guys to understand something here because there's a lot that we can knock and go at when it comes to the New York Yankees as an organization. And there's
right.
things that we are frustrated about. But the
Hmm.
one thing that even I can sit here and say, as somebody who, I dabble in the minor league stuff, I know probably more than probably a lot of the fans that watch every day because it's part of my job to notice stuff. And I talk to you and Carlos all the
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
And I wish, by the way, too, just so everybody knows, Yankees Farm wanted to be here. He had other stuff
Yeah.
already planned, but the only time I could make it work. That's unfortunate. I say unfortunately. I know you guys like me here. Unfortunately, that's why I am here. But I love having these two
Oh,
talk because I
Pete.
just wanted to be a part and let you guys talk because you guys know so much more to me about the little bits and pieces that I'm not gonna put out there. But thankfully, I have you here. But one of the things we can't knock the Yankees on is the pitching philosophy within the organization because it's been good. Yes, we haven't had somebody really come up and just, damn, we got an ace. We haven't had that. I understand that. But I'm
No.
talking about basically from like Matt Blake when he came in to where they are now. They are doing something right. And there's no denying
Yes.
that.
No, there's not. And Sam Breen is a very big part of that. He's the pitching director in the minor leagues. Since those two came, they have completely revamped everything they've done. They go out and scout differently. They don't go and scout, just get the guy with big stuff or just
Right.
get the guy with a phenomenal off-speed stuff. They go and get guys that they know they can improve, that they can add a different shape to the pitch, that they can add velocity to. They add velocity as well as any organization in baseball. They know how to develop pitching, and we might not see it at the big league level because they traded Waldichuk, Wesniewski, Medina, those guys last year.
Yep.
But they already have better guys here. So it's just absolutely phenomenal in the system what they're doing with that.
That's a pretty good question right there by Joe, man. That I would love to have you answer. What are the three pitchers that we just talked about that you do not think will be with the Yankees come August 2nd? That I guess put it like this: who are the biggest three you could see be traded?
Warren Beater.
Thorpe.
No.
You don't think so?
And
The only reason
no,
why the only reason I bring up Thorpe is I just feel like any big trade is almost going to have to require him. If
yeah,
there's
that's
a
fair.
Soto, if the Yankees do, by all means, I don't buy the Ohtani Buster Olney bullshit. I don't
No.
buy it with the Yankees at all. But if any of Nolan Arenado with the Cardinals, of any big name, even for an example, I think the Cardinals would be very inclined to say Brandon Donovan would do him for Thorpe. And I think you have to seriously consider that. I know you love Thorpe, but Donovan is a hell of a fucking a bat.
Yeah, that's a deal that you probably make because once you get past Drew Thorpe, you have Brendan Beck.
Exactly.
And then you have Juan Corella. And then you have so many more guys coming from the lower levels. You can't get married to one pitcher when you have 5, 6, 7 that could all be major league starters in the next year and a half.
That's correct. So who would your three be? You tell me your three. I agree with your first two. I'm actually going to throw in Thorpe, and I kind of got like Thorpe and Hampton right beside each other because I do think the Yankees are going to have to try to get a pretty big name.
Yeah, I agree with that. The three I see them hold on to the most are Thorpe, Corella, and Hampton. But I think one of them would probably have to go in a trade for a big piece also.
Can you actually tell me about somebody?
Sure.
Because I've seen his name a bit, and I don't want to because I don't know a lot about him, but I kind of feel like he's kind of being left out not to rot a little bit, but he's not as well known. You see his name pitching good games, he's had good stats overall. Tell me a little about Richard Fitz.
This is a guy I'm not incredibly high on because there's so many other guys around him that are really good.
Is
But
that
he
the
has
is that like the only reason, or is there other stuff wise too?
that's the only reason
Okay.
is
So
there
he's
are
just being
guys
overshadowed a bit.
that's it.
Okay.
He is a very, very good pitching prospect, has one of the better fastballs in the system, the way that it rides. He's one of our Jin Wook is a guy that works with us,
He's
and
awesome,
he
by the
is
way.
yeah, he is. He's
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. And Fitz is his number two pitcher. And
Wow, really? Who does he? And he got Thorpe, I'm gonna assume, number one.
Hampton.
Hampton. Wow. I know Yankees Farm is extremely high in Hampton also.
Eh, The more people that you talk to in the scouting and everything else, it's pretty evident that Chase Hampton has the possibility of being the best arm we developed since Severino.
Damn. I mean, I'm actually, I just paused for a second there because I'm seeing Richard Fitz and I see exactly what you're talking about in the fastball. And then I'm
Yep.
also seeing that sweeping slider he has. And all I think right there when I see somebody like this is bullpen.
Yeah, there's a chance.
I could see him fitting that long roll in a
Yeah,
bullpen, 2 or 3 inning guy.
I think he's probably traded before they put him in the bullpen
I
because
could see
there's
that.
more value there
Yeah.
to get. But if they kept him, he could very easily end up in either role. But it's not that he's a bad pitching prospect. He's a
Mm,
really, really good one. We just have better.
yeah. So on the pitching side, we covered a lot of that.
Yeah.
We hear that Luis Heel, he recently updated everybody. It's like, I'm getting back on a mound. So he's going to
Yep.
be back very, very soon. I think we kind of forgot, how talented Luis Heel is. I mean, with everybody in the Yankee system, Luis Heel came up and was phenomenal for the Yankees for a little bit. And a lot of the projection was that he'd either be in a rotation last year to start, then he had the surgery, or that
Right.
he would be able to go to the bullpen and have amazing velocity and a great fastball and then a great slider and be
Right.
one of those wipeout guys, maybe a late inning type guy. So we're kind of, not talking about him. And these are guys on the 40-man roster. Him, Yoendris Gomez. These guys are on the 40
Gomez is
man.
another guy.
And Gomez is finally back. Has he, now correct me if I'm wrong. I know you and Yankee Farm talked about they kind of still have him
They
at
still
the
do.
3 inning mark. They still have him at the
That
3 inning mark.
Yep. They won't let him
Okay.
go over that. Yeah, I think he had 5 Ks in 3 innings last time out. If you look at his lines, he doesn't give up 2, 3 hits. He doesn't give up runs. He's phenomenal. It's just
I mean, I was just gonna say he has 22 and 1/3 innings, 23 Ks. His ERA is 1.21.
yeah. I can't say enough about how much pitching we have in the system. It is absolutely silly. And that's why you can't be afraid to trade some of these guys because they have so much of it that if we can improve the ball club, I mean, a prospect's biggest value is to help out a major league team.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is by acquiring other players. So if we can get those guys to where that they become assets in the trade market, that's a huge developmental win for us.
No doubt.
And you can always trade pitching.
Damn. Oh, easy. No doubt. And the other name too that I'm bringing up, and I just know, of course, we're not leaving out guys that have appeared in the major leagues this year. Your Johnny Brito, who looked really good his last outing at the major league level. And the Yankees, he hasn't got another one. Randy Vasquez has been very good at the major league level. Probably better than he's been in the minors. I mean, he's been really good in the starts he's made.
Yeah, both of those guys are rotation options. I think Vasquez has a little bit higher ceiling because he has more pitches. Brito needs to work on a curveball, a slider, a third pitch because he just doesn't have it yet.
And I
But
would also just add to Vasquez. I think the biggest issue with him right now is if he could fix up that command slightly. I mean, he could. I think he could be really, really phenomenal.
I don't disagree with that. The problem with fixing up the command is that his pitches move so much
A lot.
naturally. They just move so much. It's hard to know from one day to the next if it's going to move 20 inches or 24 inches.
Yeah.
And that makes the difference between on the black or side of the plate.
Yep.
But he's somebody that I think probably gets traded, unfortunately, because he's at AAA and we have all those guys coming from AA and high A. How many spots are open long term?
True.
You have Cole locked up, you have Rodon locked up, Gervon's got 2 more years left, Schmidt is locked in,
Yep.
Cortez is locked in. You have to wonder how many of these guys are actually going to impact the rotation. And
Facts.
we know that they want Yamamoto next year.
Oh,
So
I know. I saw the news today that our good friends, the Boston Red Sox, are extremely amped to land him. Apparently, it's their 1A. It's their plan of the offseason is to land
I hadn't
Yamamoto.
seen
So
that.
yeah, I saw that, and you really haven't had much connection regarding the Yankees. You have had, unfortunately, you've had more
No,
connection connecting Murakami than Yamamoto when it comes to the Yankees.
no.
Am I wrong?
Yes, Yankees have been over in Japan scouting Yamamoto, I believe 4 or 5 starts.
Oh,
They
good.
wa-
Please. I
they
mean, you got to figure out. I talk about it all the time. You've heard me say it multiple times. He got to be the get of the offseason. That should be the Yankees' only plan. Everything else you could do via trade. Trade
Yeah,
things, put
absolutely.
different pieces. Get this guy in your rotation. If you could pair that 3 up with him, Rodon, and Cole, forget about it.
Forget it. And
I
he brings
mean,
in a ton of money from
yep,
that market too.
no
But
doubt. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge get for the Yanks.
yeah, and they in another article that I read, they have him prioritized like the Red Sox do.
Good. I hope so. I mean, you got it. I mean, if anybody doesn't know much about Yamamoto, I think he's pitching like a 1.81 ERA again this year. It's like 3 years in a row under 2 ERA. He pitched at a WBC, throws the mid 90s, great splitter. He reminds me of almost a younger version and a little more power behind his pitches of Hiroki Kuroda. He got
Yes.
the same type of stuff. He's always around the plate. Could be somebody I think that comes here and will be absolutely phenomenal. I am extremely excited about him coming here. I had somebody tell me recently that he's the best pitcher in the world that's not in the major leagues right now. And that's even over Sasaki. That's what I asked. And they said, no, I would put him ahead of him right now. At where they are in their career right now, I'd put him ahead because his command is so good.
Yeah, I believe that. My only concern with Yamamoto is if you look at his motion mechanics, he
It's a lot
doesn't
of
use
this.
his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
doesn't
arm.
use his legs much, but he's still so young. I believe he's 24. He'll be 25 when he comes over next
Yep.
year.
Correct.
He's still so young. There's lots of miles on that arm, but I worry about him at 32 to 33, 34, not
Yeah.
using his legs, and if he pops the arm. That's my one concern with him. But other than that, his pitches, his command, his control, his body is phenomenal.
And the other thing too that I do want to bring this up because I do think it is a fair thing to say because we are talking about prospects and basically when a Japanese pitcher or player or hitter comes to America, they're considered a rookie and they are kind of prospects at this
They
point
are.
in their career is over the last couple of years and more even looking forward, you have a lot of these guys that have really worked at the major league level. You remember years ago, back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was like, yeah, they're never going to work. Like
No.
Matsui was like one of the ones you're like, oh, wow, that actually worked. Hideo Nomo. There wasn't as many. Now you got Kodai Senga, who we talked about, was like, he's going to be friggin' good. He's been really
Yep.
good.
Yep.
What's my guy? Yoshida, who has been one of the best players in the American League.
He has. He can
He's been
hit. I
great.
you
Fujinami. You know, people look at Fujinami and go, he sucks. Okay, look at it. Look at his numbers since he went to the bullpen. Way
right.
better.
He's
Pitching
been,
to a high 2 ERA in his last like 15 outings.
and when we talked about him this winter, you and I, we said he was better suited for the bullpen.
Bullpen. Correct. Yep.
And
So it's
that's
not
the
as big
role
as a
he's
risk anymore.
no, it's not as big as a risk. You see guys, Darvish comes over and translates right away. You had
Yep.
the I'm going blank on Tanaka.
Otani, we don't have to even talk about. We know what he's doing.
Right,
Tanaka,
but
Hiroki Kuroda. Again, Senga has been phenomenal for the New York Mets. And there's more players on the way. There's a lot of guys also. I know Murakami's a name that people are familiar with, but Murakami's having a very, very tough year over there right
is.
now. He's having a really tough year. So his stock, I don't want to say it's plummeting, but he needs a bounce back because as of right now, he's not as sexy and attractive as he once was a year ago.
I think that has to do with playing more than he ever did last year and the WBC.
Yep.
I think that he didn't have as much recovery time, and maybe as a 22-year-old, he went all out, and he's got to learn to manage his energy throughout the year a little bit more.
Good point.
I have no doubt that he's going to figure it out by the time he comes over.
Yeah, no doubt. Guys, we are 19 likes away from 100, and now we are going to get into, I would say almost, I don't want to knock it. I don't want to beat it up. But this is not as sexy of a conversation as the pitching side is. The pitching side has a lot more studs, I would say, than the offensive side does. And we do got a super chat from Rod Thompson. And Rod, I'm happy you bring him up because you know what? We'll start right there with this guy. He said, will Everson Pereira be used as trade bait or in a potential call-up? Before we answer that question, Dane, I think we actually both agree on what we probably think there. So the hell with it. I think he's going to be traded.
I think that if they make a deal, he's the most likely outfielder to go.
But I will say this. He is a guy that has been so shadowed in this system by Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez that it's almost comical in a sense because Everson Pereira has been the best outfield prospect for the Yankees this year. And I don't think it's even close.
At the upper levels, absolutely.
At the upper levels, yeah. I don't think it's even close at all.
No, it's not even close.
I mean, if you don't mind, before we get into him, I just want to give his stats across the board.
Sure, please.
Just got the AAA, homered in his first game in his first at bat, but he's hitting .313 on the season. Now, this is something I want everybody pay close attention to because there is not a lot of Yankee prospects hitting 300. Not many at all. So 313, 382 on base percentage, 566 slugging, a 948 OPS. That is in 50 games, 182 at bats, 57 strikeouts, which is actually down for him.
Yes,
that's a down number for him. And 11 homers, 38 RBIs, 20 walks, 11 doubles, 1 triple on the season. He has been absolutely phenomenal. I would say DJ Steals. I'll say Dane is definitely more handsome. No, Dane is more handsome. Definitely much more handsome than me. Come on, look at me. Look at this ugly guy. Come on.
Look at me. I scare children.
All right, let's talk about Everson Pereira. All right, let's do that.
Anyway,
what do you think?
I think he's Justin Upton if he stays healthy. That is my comp. I think that,
Justin Upton.
Yes.
Prime Justin Upton was something because, towards the end, I don't think you wanted to be that guy.
No, but look at the body. Look at the numbers.
I see it.
The power. Everson Pereira hit 20 home runs and less than 200 at bats a couple years ago.
Yep.
His only issue has been his health. And that's why I think he gets traded because he hasn't shown the ability to stay healthy consistently. There is availability is a skill, and you need guys available, but he could factor in center field, left field, right field. He can play them all.
I want to go back too, guys, on the screen. That's his first at bat in AAA, by the way. A homer to dead central. He also has stupid power to all fields. That's why I like the
He
Justin
does.
Upton comparison a lot.
He does. And he has the speed that Upton did. He good fielder, defense. This is a very, very good prospect. And I would probably have him. Well, actually, I'm going to give away a little bit of the list. He's our number 1 ranked outfielder.
I mean, that's only fair. I mean,
Yeah.
I would tell you if you guys handed me that list and said he wasn't, I would have to say you're bullshitting because it wouldn't be NYY News TV because that we are real talk for the real fan and that's our motto. If you were looking at the organization in real time, you can't put Dominguez over him.
No, I don't think you can. I'm having a hard time with where I'm going to put Jason, where we're going to put Jason. He's been number 1.
Well, I'm just talking about this year. Like, I'm talking about as of right now for this year. But if you want to look at projections, I can see where you could say Dominguez is a better overall prospect. But for this year, there is by far no better outfield prospect.
No, there's not. Pereira is the better prospect this year, and it's not close. He's the only one in the system that started above AA that has performed. Every one of the hitters that we have seen have underperformed. And I just got to talk about one thing real quick. Spencer Jones last year hit 350 for a good part of the season. They had him change his swing because he hit too many line drives. They wanted him to add launch angle, to drop that back shoulder. And you can see in the strikeouts, which is at 35%, or has been up there throughout this season. The walks are way.
I was going to say he has 281 at-bats, and he's already struck out 98 times.
Right. That's too much in high A.
That's also probably why, correct me if I'm wrong, if you agree, I think that's also why he hasn't been called up.
That's the only reason. He's put up fantastic numbers, but you can't go up to AA where the best pitching in the minors is and be striking out 35% of the time. It'll absolutely ruin his development.
No doubt.
But they may have already compromised it by changing the swing. It's so frustrating.
So again, guys, where Dane is coming at with this, and actually DJ Steele had a super chat, says, Dane, you're not LI, you don't scare children. So, LI does. LI's trade proposals will scare anybody away, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, my goodness.
It could be adults. It could be the toughest guy. And Rambo could walk in the room and be like, oh, get out of here. And run out the room and fucking kill himself probably. But you bring up a good point when it comes to Spencer Jones because we gave the Yankees a lot of credit when it comes to how they've developed pitching.
Yes.
Problem with this Yankee organization is, and this is why I think the analytics side gets such an attack, and we laugh at things like launch angle and exit velocity and this and that, because the majority of the guys that have been in the system now for a little bit of time that the Yankees have been able to get their hands on and go, no, do this, do this, do that, kind of just went like this a little bit.
Austin Wells, 24 years old in AA. He should be in AAA, but look at the batting average from last year to this year.
Yep, it's 30 points down. It's 30
it's more
points
than that.
down. It's more. I'm talking overall. Overall, it's 30 points down. But yeah, you're right. If you look at that, yeah, he was in 323.
Right.
He was hitting 323 in Hudson Valley. I mean, I know AA is a difference, but this guy has always been known as like, this guy could pitch. I mean, he can hit. He's a phenomenal hitter.
I don't know that he had a year, even going back to college, that he hit under 300 until this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, compared to last year, okay, great. It just kind of really reminds you of the Yankees, right? Because his slugging percentage is slightly up, but then the average takes such a hit. And it's really like a balance act of what do you want?
And they want power hitters, unfortunately. That's what they are teaching with that launch angle. If you listen to Sean Casey, there's a lot to like about that hire and there's a lot to not.
Yeah.
But what he says about using the analytics for scouting reports and those kind of things is good, but you have to individually tailor everything to an individual player.
Right.
It
Correct.
it cannot it can't just be one philosophy for everybody because that doesn't work.
Well, Dana, I also, just to add to what you just said, I bring this up a lot. I'm happy you brought that up because for the people that hate analytics and the people that love analytics, I always say this. It really depends on the player, and it's a bigger conversation. So, for an example, if somebody goes to me and goes, "Hey, my leadoff hitter, what am I looking for in analytics?" Looking for batting average. I don't give a shit about launch angle. I don't give a shit about exit velocity. You look at the best hitters in the
No,
game this year, average wise. I did it the other day. I said, let's look up Luis. Let's have fun here, everybody. And his StatCast is the Blue Man Group.
it is.
I mean, you mean to tell me if I look at that as a quote unquote nerd and I go, this guy, nope, you're not winning with Luis Ariz. And I go, wait a second, hold on, nerd. Hold on a second. You can have your launch angle guys, have them as the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, but you don't want a table setter up top?
You have to have a table setter up top. You have to have that guy.
The Yankees don't.
No, they don't. And you can see that how many teams don't value that by how many teams passed on Luis Ariz this year.
That's right.
He did not
Most
get
of the majors.
Yeah, most of the majors passed
Yep.
on him. They didn't get a phenomenal trade. They got Pablo Lopez
Yeah.
for it. That's not a huge haul for a guy that's hitting 380, 390.
It's unbelievable. If you really, that's a great point. Guys, think about that for a second. I mean, really, think about that. That's a starting pitcher that I believe they re-signed, right? I think they gave him a couple of years too.
Yeah, I believe so.
So they gave that up for Luis Ariz. Think about how insane that sounds. And yeah, he has a 900 OPS. He smacks doubles.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, this whole idea, like, I mean, I don't want to go to a Luis Ariz because this is not, regarding major leaguers, but I challenge you guys. Go pull up his StatCast and look at all the blue you're going to see up top.
Yeah. Well, I think he's probably a modern day version of Tony Gwynn.
No doubt. Best comparison we have to a Tony Gwynn is Luis Ariz, no question.
Yeah. And if the Yankees got a hold of Tony Gwynn, they'd change his launch angle.
They'd ruin him.
Right.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to continue on down the system to
please.
Who was Jason Dominguez? Look at that batting average.
That's a big point to talk about, man.
I have been a Jason Dominguez defender all year because he was so good in spring training.
Phenomenal.
And he really looked like our best hitter there. And he goes down to AA, which I thought was a mistake right away. I thought he should have gone to AAA and been challenged because every time Dominguez is challenged, he steps up. Look at what he did in AA last year. Look what he did in spring training this year. But they send him to AA, and he is taking a ton of pitches. The one good thing what he's doing this year is the walks. He was leading the league in walks earlier in the year, and the on-base percentage is, 100 points higher? 120 points higher?
Yes.
It's just it's a massive difference, but the strikeout numbers are bad too, because he's not swinging and being aggressive. He's got to get more aggressive, or I'm not sure what the future is.
So to give his numbers across the board in AA, and by the way, I think, just to be fair, he is the youngest player in the league. He's at 20 years old in AA, right? That is correct?
I think, yeah, that is correct. But I think Chiros from the Brewers is a little younger.
Okay, yeah, so there's not a long list ahead of who the youngest player is in AA. He missed a whole year due to COVID, which everybody else did. So again, I don't like to necessarily use that as an excuse because every one of his peers also did.
One thing about that, it was his first year.
So he missed an important season.
Yeah.
Okay. But looking at his numbers right now across the board, 204 average. This is all in Double A. 345 on base percentage, which is good. He has a 346 slugging, which I think is a major cause of concern.
Yes, it
A
is.
346 slugging is not something you think of when you think of Jason Dominguez. And a 691 OPS is also not something you see regarding Jason Dominguez.
No,
98 strikeouts and 280 at-bats. Those are all legitimate things to be concerned about when it comes to
they are.
Dominguez.
They are. They are. It's something that you have to worry about now because it's scary where he's at. For me, anyway. I mean, we're halfway through the year. If you go back to our videos early after spring training, we were talking about him being up in August because he looks so good in spring training.
100%. 100%. I was saying it, I was saying maybe, he gets hot first 2 months. He's up in July potentially. Yankees get rid of Aaron Hicks and, he would take over. That was the hope. Leaving spring training, everybody was like, oh shit. Like Jason Dominguez is about to be the man in New York. And, I get a lot of people in the chat saying, hey, I'm not really concerned. That is a fair statement to make. There is cause of concern, but, and this is not an excuse. This is only being fair.
Okay.
And I talked about this recently when people bring up Juan Soto. And I always say this. Be careful who you deem a phenom. The reason I say that is not many players in baseball get up to the major leagues under 20 years old or at 20 years old. No. There's not many people who do that. So when people like to do and the Yankees love the comparison game. They love it. They eat it. They feed off of it. And I always say it. It is a very, very, very stupid thing to put on a prospect that is learning this game to all of a sudden go, oh, Mike Trout is here. He's the Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle. He's that former player. And Volpe, then you got Jeter. Yeah, Volpe, Jeter. Then you got anybody right now could come out and go, hey, just so you guys are aware, Juan Soto won a World Series at 19. So I don't really want to hear the comparisons like that. How about you just let Jason Dominguez develop into who Jason Dominguez is going to be?
Yeah, that is an absolute what they need to do. But I'll take it a step further. Juan Soto is a guy that you go get if he's available and you don't think about what it costs. If it costs you Jason Dominguez, if it costs you Everson Pereira, if it costs you Austin Wells, if it costs you Will Warren, you go do it.
You have to.
Because he's 24 years old. He's the same age as Austin Wells.
I don't think people fully comprehend that because, and that is one of the strangest things right now going around with Yankee fans is two things. I hate doing this because I know this is about the minor leagues, but hell, we could talk because it doesn't involve our prospects. I want to bring this up. There's two things about Dominguez that drive me nuts. One is that people truly don't understand the immediate impact that he would make on this team that doesn't walk, they don't get
Soto
on base.
Or Dominguez?
Soto. The immediate impact he would make if the Yankees trade for him.
No.
The other weird thing that I've heard a lot recently when it comes to Soto is we're giving up so much for a guy we can just wait and sign. When have we become an organization that waits? Where has play today, win today gone? Have we really settled to be a just get in organization, or are the fan base gonna demand better? If he's available, you get him. You get him. No matter what it costs. You go out there and get Juan Soto. I'm sorry.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. If you listen to Juan Soto's comments, he loves playing in Yankee Stadium. He loves the fans.
He got family members in New York.
Yeah, he's a marketing bonanza.
Big time.
He's 24 years old. So he gets you that second piece for Judge. You get his Robin to Judge's Batman. But it's also your long-term building piece because he is only 24. You can build around him for the next 10, 12, 15 years, maybe.
Damn right. Damn right.
And
Guaranteed comes at 25, guaranteed 8 years of prime.
right,
Guaranteed 8 years of prime.
right. And
where's the miss here? What am I missing?
That's what I want to know is what we're missing. Why you wouldn't trade anybody in the farm system and be thrilled to do it right away. Look, I'm one of the biggest prospect huggers you're ever going to meet.
I know.
I would, for the last 2-3 years, I have said, hold on to guys, hold on to guys, hold on to guys. As soon as you sign Aaron Judge for $40 million a year, when he turned, and you sign Anthony or Carlos Rodon, they put themselves on a clock where they can no longer wait to sign guys. You have to make those moves to go get the players. And if that costs you the top 2 or 3 guys in your system to get a legitimate 24-year-old superstar, you make that move every day and twice on Sunday.
So let's do this because I want to leave some of the bigger names still up top a little bit. Tell me a little about one of the biggest offensive breakouts in Yankees minor league, Jared Cerna.
Cerna is an elite bat-to-ball skill guy, somebody that I comp size-wise and the way he hits to Jose Altuve.
5'6", so in case anybody wanted to know.
And that might be generous. But if you look at the home runs, you look at the doubles, you look at the power.
Yeah.
That is very Altuve-like.
Yep.
He's got, what, 14 or 15 home runs already?
He got he's hitting 285, 346 on base percentage, 481 slugging, 827 OPS. He has 14 homers, 51 RBIs, 59 Ks, and 28 walks on the year. 16 stolen bags also.
And the strikeouts are up. He was a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk guy in the last year. But he is a phenomenal prospect, but he is being blocked in in Hudson Valley with guys who need to get going. And that brings me to a part of the farm system we need to talk about real quick is the middle infield depth.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, I think the majority of the guys we're going to talk about now are middle infielders.
Yeah, they are. Catchers, there's a couple catchers that are really, really good.
Oh, yeah, there's one name. We're going to get to it, but I think it is the name to look out for the next couple of seasons. No doubt about it, in my opinion.
On that side, absolutely. But Cerna is a phenomenal player, but they're leaving him in Tampa, and he needs to go up because they have guys in the FCL that need to go up that might even be better than Cerna.
You talking about Kiner Delgado?
I'm talking about Kiner. I'm talking about Tejada. I'm talking about Hans Montero. And I'm really talking about Roderick Arias. Roderick Arias has come on. I don't know if you saw the story today. They're saying that that's the guy that people, of course they do. But I would hold on to him over Wells, over a Pereira. This kid has a switch hitting. He's a switch hitter. He's a shortstop. He's walking about as much as he strikes out. He's got incredible speed. He's an elite defender. The comp has always been Francisco Lindor with more power and more speed.
Jesus.
So, and there's power from both sides of the plate already. And it's opposite field power from the left-hand side. The overall package is spooky how good it is. Yeah. And then you have Hans Montero, who is down there tearing the cover off the ball. He was another high-dollar international free agent signing that didn't have a first good couple of years, and now he is phenomenal.
Right.
As are Kiner Delgado, who is another middle infielder. that they're rotating between second, shortstop, third base, and DH. But the system is full of those kind of guys. And you're going to see that on our top 40 list that we have coming.
Yep.
That how
When are we expecting that to, by the way, so everybody kind of gets an idea?
40 through 31 will drop on Saturday.
Nice. So we're gonna start the
And
list in drops.
yes,
And this ain't
we're
like
gonna
Baseball America, nothing like that. You don't need a subscription.
nope,
We're giving it to you. We're giving it to
we
you,
are.
folks.
And ladies and gentlemen, we put in a ton of work on this. This is
I know
something
for a
that,
fact you guys been working on this for weeks.
yes, we have. And like I said, we had some phenomenal help from NYY News TV staff. And it's not going to be like a list that you've seen. There are going to be names that surprise you, and there are going to be names that you haven't heard of because there's so much talent in the lower levels. But sorry, I jumped off track there.
No, you're fine. No worries.
So we just have some really, really big time. We just drafted another one.
Yeah.
And George
Lombard.
Jr.
Yep.
Yep.
He's father is the bench coach for the Tigers.
Yep. Former major leaguer. Youngest kid, one of the youngest kids in the draft. He turned 18 in last month. He was also a full-time soccer player. That was his main love in high school. So the idea with him is as he develops, he'll fill out because he's not running as much from soccer. He put on some weight. He added some exit velocity, and everything has gotten better this year, which is why he rose so quickly in that draft.
Right.
But if you rank him, I'm not sure that he's even in the top 20.
Damn. That's how stacked.
Yeah. I mean, that's how stacked we are with prospects.
And we're not even looking, you know, we're also talking about the upper levels that, of course, Oswald Peraza is right there, who we all know about. We barely even have to cover Oswald Peraza. You guys all know about him. And Trey Sweeney. I really want to get your thoughts on Trey Sweeney, if you don't mind, because
no, I'd love to.
I don't know how to look at his year this year.
Well, the last month has made it a whole lot better because
he's definitely turned
power.
Yeah,
right. He wasn't hitting for power until the last month or so, and now he is. But as is with Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells, you haven't seen any development. You haven't seen any real growth in their profile. And this is a guy we were talking about maybe could be at third base next year.
Yep.
And I don't see it anymore.
Because right now, so it's just so everybody is aware, he's hitting 239, and this is all in Double-A this year. 362 on base percentage, which is nice. I mean, that's a very, very solid on base percentage. Slugging 422, 784 OPS. He has 12 homers, 37 ribbies, 50 walks is not bad. The 68 Ks isn't even bad in 289 at bats. Those aren't bad walk to K numbers, not at all. You would just love to see. Put it like this: if he had even 30 more points on that batting average, slugging up a bit, a little over an 800 OPS, you would be looking at one of the breakout stars on the offensive side for the Yankees in the minor league system this year.
Absolutely. But again, we're not seeing it at the upper levels. Correct. And that is a organizational problem, philosophy-wise, in what they're teaching. Yep. That's why what Casey is going to bring in could either make it better or absolutely ruin everything. You just don't know. But
that's a scary thing.
Yeah. But the thing with Sweeney for me is we already talked about the middle infield depth that's coming.
Yep.
So is he one of your best middle infielders long term?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he would be low, almost, if you look at that potential, I think he's pretty low on that list compared to a lot of the other guys.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, even? That's what I would say. I would say he's kind of down there compared to those other guys Because you got to remember this too. I mean, if you want to be fair, whether you think Volpe's a shortstop or a second baseman, it's still middle infield, and he's going to have one of those spots unless there's some random trade, which I don't know if the Yankees would even move him in any type of deal. But you got also Peraza, who I just, at this point, I got to almost see it to believe it whenever the Yankees use him. I love Oswald Peraza. We both agree on this. Yankees farm loves Oswald Peraza. We all believe he should be in the major leagues. We all believe he's getting the short side of the stick here, that the Yankees are doing this kid wrong. They're affecting, I believe they're almost affecting his career at this point, where he should be having major league service time and playing at the highest level. And they are not allowing him to do that when there is obviously a spot for him to be making a difference at the major league level. They're not doing it. And he's performing well at AAA, but who knows what that's going to be. I'm almost at the point now where I love the kid so much, I'm kind of just sitting back going, I just hope he's a part of a deal and go play somewhere else. It's almost like that Florial type thing. Go play somewhere else. Get the chance somewhere else.
And make the Yankees pay for not believing in you.
Damn right. I want to see him as that next guy. Go, oh, shit, I remember when the Yankees had him. He's an all-star now. Cool, look at that.
Yeah, kind of like a Duran.
Yeah, like an Ezekiel Duran, even Estrada before he got hurt. Hey, hitting 285. You're hitting 280 in the majors. 10, 11, 12 homers at the break, 9 homers at the break, 20 stolen bags already. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So that's my thing. The Yankees haven't given me the faith to believe like they're going to call him up, because if you look at the history here, right, it's pretty obvious. One, everybody wanted him up last year when IKF was miserable. Yes. They were almost like reluctant. It was like, shut the fan base up, just get him up here. And they never played him. They didn't even play a top. Think about that, folks. They didn't play a top prospect when he got called up. They let him ride the bench. Then they put him in the postseason game, and then he rode the bench. And then in spring, he lost the job, and he was on fire at one point, like hitting homers every night. They disregarded it. Not a big deal. He got hurt, went back, got hot. Now he's kind of, more slowing down a little bit, but he's picking it up. Towards the break, he was picking it up again, and it's kind of just going to be where he is. And my other concern with him is Yankees haven't even played him at AAA. They haven't really played him at third base. It's been more second and shortstop again.
It has. They played him a few games at third base, but it's mostly that was like shortstop.
It's been majority, because to me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, you got a need at third base. I'd have that kid playing third base every day. Say, hey, look, let Donaldson know. You might want to play ball because the kid's here.
And another guy that we need to talk about that should be up is Ben Rortvedt.
Oh, man. No question about it. A major. And before anybody goes, hey, I thought we're talking prospects here. Ben Rortvedt is 1 year older than Austin Wells. Yep. So just so anybody is understanding here. And I love Austin Wells. Dane loves Austin Wells. I know that. Yankees Farm loves Austin Wells. Probably all of us here love Austin Wells. But let me be fair about something here when it comes to both of these guys. To be fair to Ben Rortvedt. Ben Rortvedt is a better overall defensive catcher, not even close. Better thrower, everything.
Yes.
You can make an argument. I believe that Austin Wells has a higher ceiling, but Ben Rortvedt is actually putting the numbers up this year. Completely putting the numbers up.
He was hitting 340 for a while.
Will you say that he's a better player now than he was when he was with the Twins?
Yes, he's a much better hitter now than when he was
probably
with the Twins.
All you need to know about how good Ben Rortvedt could potentially be, and kind of shocking that the Yankees are not giving this guy a chance when he was a big part of that trade.
We have a black hole behind the plate in the majors. We're not getting any offensive production at catcher. This is a premium defender, so why don't you bring him up? You're not going to lose anything defensively, and maybe get something out of the offensive side of that bat. You can have a perfect left-hand, right-hand platoon with him and Trevi, or if they trade Trevi, him and Higashioka. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, but they won't do it. It's the same thing with Peraza.
Do you think it's more of a thing with the Yankees this year where they're kind of just sitting back saying, Higgy's going to be a free agent. We're not going to pay the guy. So just leave Rortvedt to see if he can stay healthy all year in AAA, and then next year he just takes over as the backup.
I I would hope that that's the case, but this is the Yankees. We don't know.
Facts. That is
Um,
very friggin' true. But
because they
speaking of
also have,
catchers,
yeah.
I want to have the honor to introduce, I think, somebody who is going to be one of the top Yankee prospects very, very soon. And that is Augustine
August.
Ramirez,
Yep.
who is a
Uh,
Dominican catcher.
yes.
Phenomenal stuff. Dane, I give you the floor to discuss Augustine Ramirez a little bit.
Um, if you look at the strikeout rate, he's just gone up to high A. He's striking out less than 20% of the time. The walk rate is phenomenal. What Everything that he does with the bat is Gary Sanchez like
Mm.
when he was good. But this is a plus defender as well.
Yeah.
This kid is going to be a huge catching prospect, and it's why you can't be afraid to deal guys in front of him, because he has got such a high ceiling.
Look at the build on this kid. You know who I see? That's Salvador
Salvador
Perez.
Perez.
Oh my God, that's Salvador Perez, man. That
It
is
is.
Dominican Salvador Perez. Look at his body.
Look at the helicopter finish, even.
100%. The batting stance.
Yes.
That's Sal Perez.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah. And he's got called up to high A, and he has done nothing but tear the cover off the ball since he's been in high A.
Yeah.
He's been one of the best hitters at that level since he's been there. He's just absolutely killing it. And he is Rule 5 eligible this winter, and they will protect him.
Oh, they gotta. They would have to be batshit crazy not to protect this guy. As you guys, some people in the chat saying he's huge. Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's that different type of huge. He has the body type 100% of Sal Perez. There was a time Gary early is like, does this guy put in a ton of work? Because Gary was never, it got overblown with the Gary being fat. I wouldn't say Gary was ever fat. Gary just didn't, he seemed lazy. Like there was something about him where you saw him. It's like, this guy doesn't seem like he puts much effort in. And he might have the whole time. And it's just the persona that kind of followed him, because there was some stuff in the minor leagues that was kind of out there about that. Hell, I think Larry Bowa said it when he left. A-Rod said it, that his conditioning was an issue and all that. So a lot of guys did admit to that. But you look at how Augustine Ramirez, the guy is he's what I call stacked. He's just a big man. He has a great body type for a catcher.
He does. He has an absolute perfect build for catcher, and he's a hard worker. I have heard nothing but phenomenal things about his work ethic, his desire, there's not a bad thing to say about this kid.
Guys, watch this real quick. Well, I'm gonna rewind it back because I want you to see this absolute missile. Here's Augustine. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's just an absolute nuke. And
to a construction site, they're gonna pick that baseball up into concrete tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
Bro, get excited about this guy, man. I'm telling you, get excited about Augustine Ramirez. This is a guy we're going to be talking about a lot going forward. I'm telling you right now.
I saw Hirsch asked about Antonio Gomes versus this kid.
It's not close.
Not close. Forget about Gomes.
Yeah, I'm very upset. I almost feel bad for Antonio, because we did an interview with him and he's such a cool friggin' kid, man. You almost root for him to be successful. The scariest thing about Antonio this year is he's always been known for that amazing defense, and it just hasn't been the same this year.
I think that's a product. Yeah, I think that's a product of the eyes. He's been very resistant to get a LASIK surgery or wear contacts for some reason. And so I think that's affected. There was a game earlier this year where he's looking down, he drops a ball, and he's looking around for 5 minutes. Well, it's more like 30 seconds, and it's right at his feet. He couldn't see it. Gomes is not the prospect, the catcher of the future. It's Agustin Ramirez, and I can't say enough high things about him.
And he's in Hudson Valley.
He's in Hudson Valley.
So he's at high A. Holy shit. I mean, guys, he is a level behind Austin Wells.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, that's something to really, really consider right there, is that this kid is right behind, many people consider to be one of the best hitting prospects the Yankees have. He is right behind him right now. And he is coming on quick. How old is he?
Ramirez is 21.
21. Okay. So there you go. I mean, you also got a guy that's 3 years younger than Austin Wells,
And
a
he's
level
a more
behind him.
complete catcher because he can defend as well.
And he could throw.
Yes.
So, I mean, if I had to pick one player in the Yankees organization, I'm actually putting Augustin Ramirez even ahead of your Brando Maillas, your lower level guys that are phenomenal talents. One of the main reasons why I'm going to do that is because, one, I don't think there's anything better than a good catcher.
No, there's not.
Now, here's the warning. Dominicans in the chat, cover your ears. You're not going to like this. There hasn't been many really well-rounded Dominican catchers. There hasn't been in baseball. That's just a funny thing that, Latin America likes to joke around about. Ozzie Guillen jokes around about it a lot, all the time. He says, the best catchers come from Puerto Rico or Venezuela all the time. They're always the best catchers.
Yep.
But Gary Sanchez could have been that guy if he had the work ethic. I believe this guy is very, very good, Gary Sanchez with the bat. But again, I just see Salvador Perez just goes bing, 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 bing when you watch him. It's like the easiest comp. It's so simple. I think he's my pick for the guy that everybody should be looking at.
He's not that far down my list either. He's absolutely somebody that we need to get familiar with and start planning on being in the Bronx. And
yeah, so let's actually, but you could continue. I just want to make sure we don't forget Brando Maillas because we didn't talk about him much. So I would like for you to cover him a little bit.
What is there to say bad about Brando Maillas? He has been phenomenal. The spray, if you see his spray chart, that's phenomenal for a 17-year-old. It's equal pretty much to all fields. He hits the ball all over the place. He goes with pitches. He is supposed to be one of the best defensive center fielders you'll ever see. He is phenomenal, and he wants to work at it and get better.
He also walks, which is pretty. He has a very good eye for his age.
He's got elite plate discipline and bat to ball skills. That's why the Gary Sanchez comp, or not Gary Sanchez.
I was gonna say, whoa, wait a second.
Wow, Dane. Wow. Sheffield.
Yeah.
Gary Sheffield Jr. or Gary Sheffield was his comp.
Yeah.
Because of the low strikeouts, the power. And he's showing that at 17 years old. It's just another phenomenal package that we have coming in an outfielder, which also means why you can't get too attached to guys you have at the upper levels, because we have him coming.
Yep.
And I'll add another guy.
Please do.
That's 17 years old in the FCL. The numbers aren't incredibly sexy with the batting average, but John Cruz is a 6'3" left-handed hitting outfielder. And
I like hearing lefty.
Yeah. And he's hitting for a ton of power. He's only 17 in the FCL, which is extremely, extremely young. If he can put a few things together where he gets that batting average up, he's a top 100 prospect all day.
So let's do this.
Okay.
Your breakout, well, I don't want to say breakout prospect, but your guy to at this date right now to tell the fans to look for, like every day, daily, you should be looking at this guy, seeing what he's doing. Who is that guy that you would tell fans don't miss this kid?
Roger Arias.
And I've already said my guy's Augustin Ramirez. So those are two names right there, guys, that I would tell you all to look forward to, no doubt about it. Now, pitching prospects so far, in the first half of the season for the Yankees, who is it?
Chase Hampton.
Chase Hampton. I'll say Drew Thorpe.
Okay.
I'll
That
go to
they're
Thorpe.
both good answers.
Well, he has a mustache, so that's the only. That's
Okay.
literally the only reason. There's no other reason besides that he has a mustache. All right, and I mean Hampton. I love Hampton's demeanor. You can't really be wrong with either one of those guys.
Mm-mm.
Offensive breakout star, top
Cerna.
guy right now, Jared Cerna.
Yep.
I think I'll have to agree with Cerna on that one. Cerna or even Augustine Ramirez, you could also say too.
Yeah,
and
you
that
could
either
also
one
say that.
really.
Either one.
Disappointment of the minors so far. I'm gonna see if
Jones, Dominguez, and yeah, there's another sleeper one. Elijah Dunham has been very disappointing for me.
I agree. I agree with that a lot. Elijah Dunham has been very disappointing. He got sent back down to Double A, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, deservingly so too, because he really
Yeah,
wasn't producing.
it was the right move, but
yeah,
he is someone that I thought could have been in the majors at some point this year, early next year. Hasn't had a good first half at all.
another breakout guy too is Polanski.
Yeah.
Has he still stayed hot, or has he tailed off a bit?
He's still hot, but not 380 hot like he was in Hudson Valley.
Right.
I don't know what to make of Aaron Polinsky. I have talked to people. I've talked to all our guys. He was an undrafted free agent, but he's putting up huge numbers. I don't know what he's going to be. He's probably the biggest mystery to me in this farm system.
So going back to my pick for the biggest disappointment so far, I hate doing it. I really hate doing this because I know all the factors that are there, but I don't know how you don't go Jason Dominguez here. I don't know how you don't go Jason Dominguez if you really want to be fair, because we can talk all day about, why he's young, he's this, he's that, he missed a year. We could talk all that all day. But the guy we saw in spring training and got to watch and see, yeah, it's a smaller sample size. I understand that. But with the hype and the hope that a lot of us had for Jason Dominguez, to see him hitting 200 with an OPS under 700, his slugging percentage is terrible. I mean, those to me are all things where I sit there and go, man, that's upsetting. I mean, that absolutely, that's kind of.
How else can you say it?
You can't. There is no. If you want to be fair, there is no other way to say it. He hasn't been what we expected. It's that simple.
It's not that he hasn't been what we expected. He hasn't been close to what.
Even better. That's right. Even better. Even better.
Halfway through the year, batting 200, something's got to change there.
D-Rod with a great comment there. Let's get Soto so there's less prospect names to remember. That's a good idea. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's a great answer. That's a great answer. So, Dane, before we get ready to wrap this one up here, is there anything else that you want to add? Because you do follow these guys much more than I do. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to the conversation here?
Just be on the lookout for our pitching. It is so good. We have real relievers that aren't going to have to learn to be relievers at the major league level. And that is a big thing for me. Most relievers are failed starters. We're drafting and developing guys as relievers. As we said, Danny Watson, Jack Neely, Bailey Dees, Carson Coleman. All those guys are legitimate back of the bullpen relievers, and they're going to save us a ton of money. I'm a big fan of not spending money in the bullpen, but developing.
I agree. I said the same thing. To me, it's a waste of money spending it there, unless it's somebody you've developed and to become a free agent. You want to keep that person. Yeah, but and again, every now and then there's maybe a can't miss guy out there, but other than that, to me, you can develop pen arms, and the Yankees have done that. To be fair,
they have, and they're getting the pen arms that we have aren't the best ones that we're gonna have next year or in 2 years.
Yeah,
there's just that kind of pitching talent coming. Edgar
No doubt.
Barclay's another one. He just gave up his first run in AA of the year. And he's a left-hand reliever, and he might not break glass with the fastball, but the arm angle is, I don't know if you can see that, but it's about flat.
Yeah.
And he hides the ball so well. Rick's a really big fan of his, and I get it. He is a good relief prospect, but he doesn't get mentioned because there's so much pitching.
And our friend Mario Gomez has the best response ever.
Mario.
Get Juan Soto. Yeah, of course. Get Juan Soto. That is, what we're all screaming our lungs about. So, Dana, you're not on all the time with me, and you do the podcast, but the podcast is specifically about our minor league system. So I'll ask you this question and give you this opportunity. Please. August 1st comes. What moves do you see the Yankees make? And trust me, nobody's gonna, hey, gotta be accurate. Of course not. But what move do you see the Yankees making? And if you have time, I would like to have you, talk about that a little bit. So if anybody got questions about the Major League Club,
yeah, please. If anybody has questions,
I appreciate Dane so much and Dane's time and how hard he works for us behind the scenes. So even if I have you on here now, I almost want to ask you right here. What do you see as the needs of the Yankees? What do you see as the move they should make?
The move they should make is Cody Bellinger.
Which, by the way, I threw this out. I made a video on that on June 1st.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we've been talking about it since then.
For a while, yes.
Yeah. But that's the obvious move that I think they need to make. I don't think Cashman has the stomach to get a Soto.
That's my concern. When I did that video, Dane, it's funny because I was talking like highly of the Yankees doing the move. And then I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to say this. I want to see him. I want the Padres to come out and just say everybody's available and be serious about it. Because I hate saying this as a Yankee. I hate saying this as a Yankee fan and how bad I want to be wrong. But I almost want to see the Yankees miss again. And as a Yankee fan, people are going to go, how can you say that as a Yankee fan? Because it's become so damn expected. I could almost just see it happening. We didn't want to give Dominguez, I'm sorry. We had a deal, but we didn't want to trade Dominguez as part of that deal.
That's stupid.
I mean, we got a ton of these examples already. But anyway, I'll leave the floor over to you. You tell me the moves you would do. You said Bellinger, which I agree with.
And the most obvious moves to me are in-house. I put Oswalt Peraza at third base. I'm a big fan of him there. I think the arm plays. I think the glove plays. You look at the strikeout rate in AAA this year, it's about 15%. We can use that in the lineup. He hit 297 last year at the major league level. Yep. Why isn't he here? Ben Rortvedt is the other in-house move that I make. I put him behind the plate because we need offense from that position. It adds a left-hand bat, another left-hand bat that balances the lineup. So you add two left-hand bats in Rortvedt and Bellinger. I don't think you trade Gleyber Torres unless somebody gives you a big offer. I'm not just trading Torres for anything. But if there's an offer that makes sense, you do that deal because of everything that you have coming. There's no way they're going to pay Gleyber Torres $140, $150 million when you have Jared Cerna, Roderick Arias, and the list goes on and on and on and on coming.
Yep. And there's I don't know if you are as much as I am, but hearing the Cardinals kind of come out and go, hey, we're open for business. I actually saw a quote today that said even guys like Lars Nootbaar will be available. They're making almost anybody on that club available to really build what they feel is a contender for 2024, which tells me, because they basically said that, they want to build the team for 2024. So what that tells me is guys at the upper level, AA, AAA would be very attractive. The Yankees got a lot of very attractive pieces at AA and AAA. I could actually, I know it sounds crazy. Some Cardinals fans yelled at me, but I said I could see actually Yankees pairing on a Nolan Arenado deal. If they got a Nolan Arenado, I almost feel like you have to give good prospects up, but the Cardinals would have to take like a LeMahieu back. You
Yes,
would
that's what I
have
was
to
just
have
gonna
something
say.
like that to take a LeMahieu back, but the Yankees would still give up a couple of really good prospects. But
Give
I'll
him.
be honest, I don't know if that's my number one guy to go get in the Cardinals. I know some people might hear that and go, "What do you mean?" I'm a huge, huge fan again of Brendan Donovan. I think Brendan Donovan is such, and with Sean Casey, it's a lot like him. He's a lot
Yeah,
like him in that sense. He's a lot like a Sean Casey. He's still young. Him and Lars Nootbaar, or one of those guys, to me, make a shit ton of sense for the Yankees, and I'd be willing to give up a pretty good haul for him.
I would too. But here's my thing: even if they don't get Soto now, they need to get him when he becomes a free agent.
No question. And I always throw this out there because I don't put clickbait. I don't do none of that. If I report something on Twitter, if I tell you something, sometimes I
Right.
call you first. Hey, I just heard this. See what you can find out. And we kind of bounce it off each other.
We do quite a bit.
I was told it was weeks ago that I put this out on Twitter. If I put it on Twitter, it's because this is exactly what I've been told. This is before the Padres really kind of, I think they were struggling, but you didn't know if they were going to deal guys. And the message I got was the Yankees are going to go very, very hard if the Soto in free agency. They absolutely love him. And they did try to trade for him, including Anthony
Right.
Volpe in the deal with the Nationals. They love Soto, per my understanding.
Remember
I
that
don't know if that
conversation?
translates. Go ahead.
The conversation we had with Anthony's father about that.
Yes, yes, and that was all accurate. What we said, that was confirmed.
Yeah,
Actually, that was confirmed by Joe Sherman.
it
And
was.
other elite Yankee guys that put news out for the Yankees. But I don't know if that, the Yankees are kind of sitting back going, well, we want to get him as a free agent. But I don't know if that translates to, we didn't think he'd be available now. And if he is, we tried to trade for him before. Why wouldn't we try to trade for him again? And
That
I just think he is such a damn perfect fit. I don't even
you
know.
put him in front of Aaron Judge, he's going to see more fastballs. You
Yeah,
put Juan Soto in a count where he's going to see more fastballs in Yankee Stadium. He's going to launch how many home runs to the right field?
oh, forget about it. I mean, I talked about it the other day, man. He's going to be getting fastball. He has the best chase rate in baseball. He doesn't chase nothing. He's going to get
Exactly.
fastballs right down to Johnson, batting in front of Aaron Judge. So you could just forget about it. But
That's the only reason why I don't go and get a Lars Nootbaar or a
mm,
Brandon Donovan,
mm,
because they're more than 1.5 year commitments.
yep, that's
And
true.
you can't block that spot for Soto, which is why Bellinger is the guy, secondary guy to me, that you go get, because
He'd be a rental. He's a full rental right
exactly,
now. Yeah.
exactly.
You know what I think is kind of cool too about Bellinger, to be honest, is I
Dad,
almost feel like, well, no, what I like about I know that the dad story playing with the Yankees. I actually like the idea that you can kind of let him and Bader compete with one another. And what I mean by that is they're both going to be free agents. One is going to get much more money. I think Bellinger's going to get much more money, especially if he continues what he's doing now. But
yes, he will.
you almost have your choice at that point to be like, hey, I don't know. I mean, I like Bader. I think Bader's very good for I think he's very important to the lineup. So I'm not knocking him at all. I just always like the idea of having a secondary choice. And if you could kind of pit that against one another, it's not a bad
You're
idea.
in a better position.
You're in a much
With
better position.
Bader scares me a little bit for anything more than 2 or 3 years, because
I
of
agree
how
100%.
aggressive he plays. And there's nothing wrong with that. Can't fault him for being aggressive and
Yep.
playing hard. But Cody Bellinger is still 28.
Yeah.
He's almost an equal defender in center field,
That's correct. And he's a great first baseman.
and he's an incredibly good first baseman.
Yep.
So it gives you backup plans for Bader, Rizzo. If they don't find a left fielder next year, they can sign
Correct.
him,
That's right.
or they can put him in center field
That's right.
and have him be a left-handed piece that helps complement Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
It just makes too much sense.
Well,
As
guys,
long
that's
as,
why Dane is here. Dane makes sense of things, and that's exactly why.
well, I
But
appreciate that.
no, man, this was an absolutely awesome stream. I only felt it was fair that if we're talking about the Yankees mid-grade report card, that we also discuss the minor leagues a bit, and we did that. And Dane, if you don't mind, I just want to say one thing really quickly. You know, I told you about this when I got in here. I might have started the stream on my end a little slow. I kind of been out of it. I went to the movie theaters today to see Sound of Freedom,
Yeah,
and if anybody, I feel like I have to spread
please
this
do.
message. This movie is so important. It is not a regular movie, guys, and I'm going to say this real quick. I don't get into politics much at all. This is not a political movie. So anybody saying that are fooling you, it's not. This movie is a must-watch movie. It's the most uncomfortable movie I've ever sat through because you're there with a bunch of people and it just tears the heart right out of you if you have any heart whatsoever. See this movie. I am so touched by this movie that I am going to be doing a 24-hour stream with 100% of your guys' super chat, and anything that we get from YouTube is going to go directly to Tim Ballard's organization, who is the guy the movie's about, that will, go directly towards victims of human trafficking.
Yeah.
So I wanna make sure that you know anybody who is on the fence about seeing it, you can see it. By the way, too, you can also get free tickets to see this movie. It's called Sound of
Yeah.
Freedom. When the movie ended, I immediately paid it forward. So you have the option to pay it forward and get a ticket for somebody else out there who wants to see it. I did it. I couldn't help myself. I said I have to.
It's
Um,
such an important topic in this world, what's
Very
going on.
much.
As we talked about before, they're talking about it being worse than slavery in the United States in the
Yeah.
1800s.
Well, it's
It's
modern day slavery, unfortunately, which
it
is terrible, and
and it's
it's it's
kids.
it's children. It's children that deal with this multiple times a day. It's not a drug deal. It's not a drug deal. It's not a drug deal where it's one and done and then it goes
No,
affects a person, one time they'll take it. This is something, guys, that kids are dealing with every single day. I don't want to get into specifics, but you know what I'm talking about. Multiple times a day, dozens of times a day. And the movie
eh,
pins it home in a way where you almost feel uncomfortable because it actually hurts watching it. But it's
well,
super important. You have to see it. You have to see
you
it.
guys, please go see that movie. And Pete, anything I can do to help on that stream, anything. I'm
Yeah,
on whatever
I
you
I
need.
already I already found out through YouTube I could have it automatically set up so it would be a charity stream directly for YouTube. I got to get with Gigaporto, of course, on Get Yanked
Absolutely.
on but we are going to discuss it. We wanted to do this for a while. After seeing the movie, he messaged me. He goes, "You think it's ready now?" And I was like, "Yes, you are 100% correct. I have to do it. I have no other choice. I have to do it." And again, 100% of proceeds will all go that way. I'll be there all day. We're gonna figure out the time to do it. We'll have a game to call that day. We'll probably watch a movie or two or something. Well, we'll
Sure.
have a good time with it. We'll have a good time with it. But definitely gonna do that. That will happen. And that was just my closing message. I'll be honest with you guys. I told Dane, I said, Dane, this might be a tough stream for me, man. After just coming from seeing that, popping on the stream immediately. But it got better as we went. But yeah, definitely no doubt about it.
Something
We
to
will
keep
be
in
doing
mind,
an update to everybody.
guys. Please keep that in mind. Please go see that movie. It's a huge issue affecting this country, and not just this country, but the world. These are little kids, and
And
there's people
the
turning a blind eye to it, and it needs
big
to
time.
stop.
And it's surpassing drug cartels. It's the biggest thing for any criminal out there to get into. It's unfortunately this. And what was the one of the last thing? I don't even remember. Just go see the movie if you can. Again, the great thing is, guys, you can get free tickets. I'm not ashamed to say it. Me and the fiance waited for free tickets. We got it immediately upon that movie ending. I paid it forward. I had to. You have no choice. After, by the time that movie ends, you got to pay it forward for somebody else to be able to see the movie. We did it. I hope the person sees it, is affected by it the way I was, and it does make a difference for you. So, with that being said,
Guy,
guys, you are phenomenal. Dane, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one more thing about that. 85,000 kids from the border have gone missing
Yeah,
in the last couple years.
it's
They're just
insane.
gone.
It's insane. It's terrible.
85,000.
It's a scary
Anyway,
thing.
I'm sorry.
And I'll just end it on my last position on it. I'll end it like this. If you think that this problem is a political side of an issue, you're sadly mistaken. And you are, honestly, I hate saying it. I almost want to say you're a horrible friggin' person. I don't know how else to say it than that. This is not a left issue. This is not a right issue. This is a human being issue that should be a #1 priority for everybody in this country. That's simple. That's all I want to add when it comes to that part of it. Anybody saying that this movie is some political piece, you're a literal demon. That's all I could say. There is zero politics involved in this movie. Seen the whole thing today. Zero. Zero
Yep.
politics regarding this movie. Go see it.
Please.
How do you get the free
Go see
tickets?
it.
Just go, Giovanni, go to the website and you can, if you go to the, or just look in Sound of Freedom, you'll see it. And it's something called Pay It Forward, and people could pay forward for other people to see it. That's what I did when the movie ended. We did that. So we got our tickets. You fill it out, you get your tickets, you go to the site you want, and you get it done. It's very, very simple instructions, very easy. But thank you guys again for joining us.
Yes, guys.
Greatly.
Thank you so much.
Yep, Dane, amazing job. Thank you so much for your knowledge. By the way, too, we used all of Yankee Farm's footage today. That's all his. So do me a favor, make sure you guys subscribe to Yankees Farm. You have to.
I just got to say one thing about Los, Yankees Farm. If you guys want to see the young talent in the system that we're talking about,
Yep.
you go to Yankees Farm and you check out those videos. If you're not watching those videos as a Yankees fan, you're not learning everything you can about this team. And it's something that in this half of the year when we suck at the major league level, you can get really excited about the future watching those videos.
No doubt.
So check them out, please.
Yeah, definitely check out Yankees Farm. And a couple of updates for you guys. Tomorrow we are back in business. Second half of the season begins. It'll be, game season live is back. Carlos Rodon on the mound. Can't wait to call that game. We got Get Yanked at 4 o'clock. You guys already know how we do it. NyynewsTV to the moon, baby. To the moon.
Let's do it.
Until next time, guys, we are out. Adios.
See ya.
See you later.